Board to order. Will the secretary call the roll?
Mary Beth Taylor,
Present.
Brian Bangert,
Here.
Michael Kuritz,
Here.
Rick Dean,
Present.
Julia Turner,
Present.
Jim Finnegan,
Here.
Ruth Novosad,
Here.
We have 7 members, so we have a quorum and we can conduct business tonight. Has everyone looked over the minutes from the last meeting?
I'd move that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Kurtz, a second by Taylor. Could we have a roll call vote?
Taylor,
Yes.
Bangert,
Yes.
Kuritz,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Finnegan,
Yes,
Novosad.
Yes.
motion passed. Okay, this time it's if someone was here to address the board on matters that are not on the agenda, either in person or on virtual, it's their time to come forward. You think there is anybody, Phil?
We didn't receive any emails or calls to address the board on items not on the agenda.
Do we need to give it a couple minutes or?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. We're gonna move on then. I'm gonna affirm the staff at this time. Do you solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that the testimony you give in this case now in hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, or that you suffer the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Okay. I think we are ready to call the first case.
This first case is one that has been continued, and I'm actually asking to have it continued until our Monday evening on the 20th. And I've attached a letter that is addressed to Jim Finnegan making that request. And as part of that, I'm republishing that. That was republished in the Pantograph this last Saturday so that the public would know about that meeting, even though we've been continuing it since the March 3rd meeting. I thought that it was necessary to republish it again, and we're also going to be having it published in the Normalite as well. So it'll go to the unincorporated area newspapers. So my request is to have it continued until the July 20th meeting at 7 p.m.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
I move that we move case ZA 2001 to our July 20th meeting at 7 p.m.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Kurtz, second by Turner. Can we have a roll call vote on that?
Yes. Taylor,
Yes.
Bangert,
Yes.
Kuritz,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Finnegan,
Yes,
Novosad.
Yes.
so that will be moved to the 20th at 7 o'clock. Okay, I think we're looking for Mr. Morgan. Eva does say Sherry Morgan on the thing, so she's better looking than Keith.
Yeah.
I'll introduce the case. This is case number SU-20-07, application of Keith Morgan to amend special use case SU-12-03 to allow the expansion of a rural home-based off-premise trucking business in the agriculture district. This is on property part of the northeast quarter of Section 1, Township 21 North, range 3 east to the 3rd principal meridian in Downs Township at 23741 East 200 North Road, Leroy, Illinois. Public notice of this hearing was published in the Pantograph on June 20, 2020, as provided by law. All the other required notifications have been made, and the applicant has paid the publication costs. The first exhibit is the application, which has the legal description of the property on it. And the next exhibit is a plat map, which was attached to the staff report that I had sent out, and a zoning map that shows the property is in the agriculture district, and a communication from the health department indicating that they're okay with the expansion of the proposed use. There's a narrative that was submitted by Mr. Morgan that was attached to your staff report. I will not read it at this time unless you have any questions concerning it. He submitted a proposed building plan, and I'll show you in the photos where that property is located. And if you can see on the screen, you see where Leroy is. The applicant's property is outlined in green. This is an aerial photo of the property. Most of the property is in crop production. The applicant's trucking business is toward the north end of it along US Route 136. Somewhat of a blow up of that photo. And this is along the public road there facing west on 136, facing east on 136. And the property is on the right, and this is the property on the right from the public road. And this is facing in the driveway to the Morgan property. And these are two buildings that are just a little bit to the east of where the last shot was from, and this is where the proposed office will be located. I'll show you another photo later that from the other side. This is facing south, and this is the other side facing north. It'll be this proposed building will be in this area. And this is the house. Their current office is located in their house. It has been since they started the business. And this is a building where they do the repairs on their trucks and other equipment. And another photo of it that was included in the last special use application. And these are some of the vehicles on the property. And the other vehicles on the property facing east, and a large machine shed that the applicant uses to maintain his farm equipment. And I'll deliver the staff report at this time. This property is 83 acres. It has 1,330 feet of frontage on the south side of 200 North Road, which is US Route 136. The drainage is to the east. It is mainly in crop production. The public road is an asphalt road, 24 feet in width. The surrounding zoning is agriculture district on all sides. The surrounding land use is crop production on all sides. The 7 standards in the ordinance as they apply to this request are as follows. 1, the proposed special use will not be detrimental to or endanger the health, safety, morals, comfort, or welfare of the public. This standard is met. The zoning ordinance allows a rural home-based off-premise business by special use in the agriculture district on a minimum of 40 acres. The zoning ordinance was amended by the county board on May 19, 2020 to allow such businesses to have up to 4 persons employed on site. The applicant was first approved in 1993 to operate a rural home-based off-premise business in zoning case 93-25S. The business was expanded in 2012 in case SU-12-03 to build an expanded shop to work on farm equipment and trucks. The applicant and his spouse currently operate the business from an office in their farm dwelling on this 83-acre farm. The applicant now proposes to build a 48-foot by 68-foot office building with conference and break rooms and a bath shower room, and have up to 4 persons work on site for the expanded rural home-based off-premise business. 2, the proposed special use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for purposes already permitted or substantially diminish property values in the area. This standard is met. The rural home-based off-premise trucking business has been successfully operating at this location for over 26 years. The 83-acre property is surrounded by land and crop production in the agriculture district. 3, the proposed special use will not impede the orderly development of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district, and this standard is met. The surrounding properties and crop production will continue to be desirable for such use. Adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or will be provided, and this standard is met. The property is served by a private well and septic system. Property has 1,330 feet of frontage on the south side of US Route 136 and asphalt road 24 feet in width. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. This standard is met. The 2 entrances provide safe site distance and are adequate to serve the business from US Route 136. 6, the establishment, maintenance, and operation of the special use will be in conformance to the intent of the Ag District, and this standard is met. 7, the proposed special use in other respects conforms to the applicable regulations of this district, and this standard is met. In conclusion, staff recommends that this application meets all the standards set forth in the county code. That concludes my report.
Mr. Morgan, would you like to be sworn in?
Certainly.
Here.
Oh, I'm not muted, am I?
I didn't understand.
You're not muted.
We can hear you.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, do you solemnly swear that the testimony given in this case now and hearing will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Would you state your name and address?
Keith Morgan, the address is 23741 East, 200 North Road, Leroy.
Okay. Would you like to make an opening statement?
Yes, I would. I'm appreciative of the text amendment to add from 1 additional person to 4. And we are in need of the additional office space, bigger office. And be greatly appreciated if this was approved. And I think we could definitely meet all the requirements of the county health department and all the requirements of the zoning department. So
Okay.
I'm thankful for the opportunity.
Would you want to have questions from the board? Anybody have a question? Raise your hand. No questions. Phil, did you have anything?
I have no questions, thanks.
Okay, this time we're going to open it up to anyone in the audience or coming on virtual to either ask for questions or testimony. How long should we give them?
No one requested to get a link on this case, so I don't believe anyone's going to be asking any questions. I don't think you have to wait.
Okay. You want to make a closing statement?
Well, I am greatly appreciative of what the zoning board has been able to do to me with me in this case, and thankful to Mr. Philip Dick for all his help.
Okay, thank you very much. This part of the hearing is closed and we can talk about the case if there's any questions or move on to the standards. what you want to do.
Let's
I think
move
we
on.
can move to the standards.
Okay. We'll just count them off. Standard number 1. Just put your hand up. You think it's a matter of thumb or something. Standard.
Yeah, it's all good.
Standard number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right.
I would recommend approval if you're ready for that, Chairman.
We're ready.
Okay. Of case SU 20-07.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Dean, and I think a second by Kurtz. You guys are too fast for me. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was, Dean and Kurtz. All right, we have a roll call vote.
Taylor,
It's harder than you think.
Yes.
Bangert,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Finnegan,
Yes.
Novosad.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Phil can take over.
Mr. Morgan, this will go to the county board for a decision in the evening of July 21. And you can call us the next day to find the results. You don't need to attend it. If you would, you probably wouldn't be able to speak anyway. It'll be on the consent agenda unless somebody takes it off the consent agenda, which is probably doubtful. And shortly after that, I will be sending you a letter to that effect.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and Sherry and I are very appreciative of this.
Have a good evening.
Okay, same to you. Thank you. We get it.
Next case, ZA 2004, Carlock Christian Church.
This is case number ZA-20-04, application of Carlock Christian Church for a map amendment to change the zoning classification from R1 Single Family Residence District to the Agriculture District on property part of the southeast quarter of Section 31, Township 25 North, Range 1 east of the 3rd Principal Meridian in White Oak Township, immediately east of the property located at 6549 East 2050 North Road, Carlock, Illinois. Public notice of this hearing was published in the Panagraph on June 20, 2020. As provided by law, all the other required notifications have been made and the applicant has paid the publication costs. As the first exhibit is, it's the application and the legal description of the property. And a plat map showing where this property is located in White Oak Township, which was attached to your staff report. And a zoning map that shows this property, which is a majority in crop production, but a little tip of it is in the R1 district, and the applicant wants to make this whole property in the agriculture district rather than having part of it in the R1 district. This was rezoned to the residence district when zoning was first established in the county in 1966, and the applicant is of the opinion that this is not appropriate to develop for residential use. They would like not to have it in the residence district. I have a communication, excuse me, from the health department indicating that they don't have any issues with rezoning the property. And if you see the property here on the screen, the little tip to the north is in the residence district. Most of it is in crop production, and it is in the agriculture district. A significant amount of this property is of the R1 property is actually in crop production too. Just the northern part of it isn't, and you will see in the photos. This is facing east along 2050 North Road, and if you went straight over, well, the entrance to the Interstate I-74 is to the right there, and if you go straight, you go into Carlock. And then facing west, this is toward the township, rural township. And then this is the driveway to the property that was first established as a building by Illinois Department of Transportation, I believe, for maintenance of and the construction of I-74. It's now owned by a private party. This is from Road 2050 East. And this is the building that is adjacent to it. And then this is facing down the driveway further. The subject property is straight in front of us. The property fenced off to the right is the adjacent property. And then we're along the fence here facing the west. And then facing the south. And you can see the back part of the property is in the R1 district, and there's a cornfield back there. And then this is facing east, and the part in the cornfield is actually in the R1 district, as is the other property. And this is a pavilion that's on the property, and a grassy area that is on the property as well. And I'll deliver the staff report at this time. The size of the property that's in the R1 district is approximately 9.3 acres. It has approximately 100 feet on an Illinois Department of Transportation frontage road connected to 2050 North Road. The topography is relatively flat and the drainage is to the north. The vegetation is grass, trees, and crop production. The public road that frontage road is an oil and chip road about 15 feet in width. The surrounding zoning is R1 district to the north, east, and west, and to the south is in the agriculture district. The surrounding land use to the north is Interstate I-74 interchange. To the south is crop production. To the east is Interstate 74. To the west is that commercial use and crop production. The analysis of the 7 standards of the zoning ordinance as it applies to this request are as follows. The proposed amendment is compatible with appropriate uses, appropriate zoning classifications in the area, and appropriate trends of development in the general area. This standard is met. The subject property is in part in the agriculture district, 51 acres of the parcel, in fact, and in part in the R1 single family residence district, approximately 9.3 acres. Approximately 56 acres of the 62 acre property is in crop production. The property to the south is in the agriculture district and is also in crop production. 2, the proposed zoning classification is appropriate as it relates to the physical characteristics of the property, giving due consideration to uses permitted in both the existing and the proposed zoning classifications. This standard is met. The topography and dimensions of the property are suited for uses permitted in the agriculture district. 3, adequate and safe accessibility to the subject property from a public road is available or can be reasonably supplied, giving due consideration to uses permitted in the proposed zoning classification, and this standard is met. Access to the subject property is better suited to uses permitted in the agriculture district than in the R1 district. The property has frontage on an IDOT maintained frontage road connected to 2050 North Road that is approximately 15 feet in width. 4, adequate public roads connected to the arterial highway system are available or can be reasonably supplied to serve the uses permitted in the proposed zoning classification, and this standard is met. Adequate access is available. The property has approximately 100 feet of frontage on an IDOT maintained frontage road connected to 2050 North Road. 5, the proposed amendment is consistent with the need to minimize flood damage and that the development of the property for uses permitted in the proposed zoning classification will not have a substantial detrimental effect on the drainage patterns in the area, and this standard is met. The property is relatively flat and not located within the 100-year flood hazard area. 6, adequate services, including but not limited to fire and police protection, schools, water supply, and sewage disposal facilities are available or can be reasonably supplied to serve the uses permitted in the proposed zoning classification, and this standard is met. The McLean County Health Department does not oppose the rezoning request. The Carlock Fire Protection District provides fire protection for the subject property. 7, the proposed amendment is consistent with the public interest, giving due consideration to the purpose and intent of this ordinance, and this standard is met. Staff recommends in conclusion that this application meets the standards set forth in the county code. That concludes my report.
Do we have somebody to speak on this case tonight?
My name is Dave Signeri. I'm a trustee with the church and I am present.
Okay. I'm missing that picture of them.
Mr. Signori, do you want to turn on your video too?
See DS right in front of you, Jim. He might not have his video turned on.
There we go.
Okay. Now, would you like to be sworn in or affirmed?
I will.
Which one?
I guess I don't understand the difference for the purpose of the meeting.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony is given in this case now and hearing will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Up, you got it.
I do.
Okay. Would you like to make an opening statement?
Yes. The church inherited this property recently, and the parcel in question, the tip of the farm ground there, is not productive farm ground. And our interest is in to offer it for sale. We have a couple people interested that want to use it for other purposes in conjunction with the agricultural zoning. And we came to the zoning board, and this was a recommendation that we get the rest of the property rezoned agricultural.
Okay. Is there questions from the board members?
Mr. Signori, could you tell us what your home address is, please?
Sorry,
My
Phil.
address is 2291 Brown Road in Carlock.
So the chain link fences we were viewing there belong to the state?
The chain link fence is actually, that used to be the state highway maintenance garage. That's been sold to a private party. The
Okay.
state main access road ends, if you saw one of those slides showed the driveway going in through the chain link fence, and then you saw a grassy approach to our farm fields. And we intend to maintain the access along that fence all the way back to our field.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Do you have any questions, staff?
No.
Okay, at this time, you can have a closing statement if you want to. Mr. Senior.
I just want to thank you for your time this evening, and also to Phil for his assistance in getting this prepared.
Okay, thank you. This part of the hearing is closed and we can talk about it or just go to the standards.
I think we're ready for the standards.
Okay, pretty clear cut. Standard number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. 6. 7.
I'd move that we recommend approval of case ZA 2004.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Curtis, a second by Turner. Could we have a roll call vote?
Taylor,
Yes.
Bangert,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Finnegan,
Yes,
Novosad.
Yes.
that was unanimous, so Phil can take over.
This would go for a final decision at the county board at their meeting in the evening of July 21st, and you can call us on the 22nd to find the results. It will be on the consent agenda, and I will be sending you a letter indicating approval of it or denial of it after that time, and an ordinance will need to be signed and prepared for this one. So it'll be a few days after that before the ordinance gets signed, and I'll mail you, but you can call our office, Mr. Signori, and I can let you know what happened. Or you can
Thank
watch
you.
it on you can watch it on YouTube.
All right. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Okay, I think we're ready for the next case, ZB 2006.
This is case number ZV-20-06, application of Evergreen FS Incorporated for a variance in the front setback requirements to allow a proposed scale accessory to an agricultural processing facility to be as close as 13 feet from the property line rather than 40 feet as required in the M2 General Manufacturing District. This is on property in the northeast quarter of Section 13, Township 23 North, Range 3 East to the 3rd Principal Meridian, located in Old Town Township at 11418 Oak Street, Downs, Illinois. Public notice of this hearing was published in the Panagraph on June 20, 2020. As provided by law, all the other required notifications have been made and the applicant has paid the publication costs. As the first exhibit is the application indicating the request and that two directors of Evergreen who can sign for this application are Jason Lay at 10104 East 1700 North Road in Bloomington, and Kurt Williams, who lives in Ellsworth. And their name and the legal description is attached. There's a plat map that was attached to your staff reports, and it's on the screen there. You can see where it's located in Old Town Township in unincorporated Holder. The zoning map shows that the property is in the M2 district in the town of Holder, and you can see it on the aerial photo here. At the south west corner is Downs, so this is northeast of Downs. A communication from the county health department indicating that it doesn't interfere with the septic system on the property. And we have a communication from the Old Town Township Road Commissioner, Phil Reynolds, who indicated that he's okay with the proposed location of this new scale. And the applicant submitted their FS, the standards, how they believe that they comply with the standards, and they were used in the preparation of the staff report. And they were attached to the staff report that was sent out to you. And there's a site plan showing with this that is really a survey of the property that was attached to your staff report that shows where this proposed scale house would be located relative to their front property lines. And I'll show you the photos of the property at this time. You can see the aerial photo of the property. The scale house is, okay, there's the photos. This is Fleming Street facing east. This is the main entrance road that goes to the scale and to the grain elevator. And then this is facing west. And you see the elevators to your left, and you see the existing scale house on your left to the left of that pickup there. And the proposed scale house will be about where that pickup is located. So you can see where it'll be mainly to the west of it, but that's where about that scale house will be located. And then this is facing the existing scale, and the proposed scale is right next to it to the right or to the north. And this is the scale building where they keep track of the trucks going in and out, which is right next to the scale house, the scale, which is just to your right there. And this is facing south toward the scale house and the existing scale. And this is from the other end, facing east, directly next to a grain bin and toward the existing scale, and the new scale will be to the left. And then facing east on Fleming Street, this is the street on which the trucks come in and leave Holder. And then this is facing north across Fleming Street from the grain elevator property. This is also facing north, directly to the east of where the scales are located.
So Phil, can you go back just so I can make sure I understand to where the the scale building is going to be and where the scale is going to be?
Yes, they're not building a building, they're just putting another scale in. See where that scale is? Like,
Okay, so they're not changing where the building is.
they're
Okay,
putting it right where about where that pickup is.
another scale.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you look at the attached survey that was with the staff report, you can kind of see where it says proposed scale, and they had to get a surveyor out there to make sure where that edge of that property is there. And that's where it was determined that there's a little box on there that is as close as 13 feet from that property line.
Okay, so it's gonna be inbound and outbound scale system?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll deliver the staff report at this time. The surrounding zoning to the north is in the R1 district, and part of it's in the M1 district. To the south is the agriculture district. To the east is the R1 district, and to the west is the R1 district. The surrounding zoning to the north are single-family dwellings and a contractor shop. To the south is crop production. To the east is a single-family dwelling, and to the west is a single-family dwelling. The applicant proposes to build a second scale for their grain processing facility. The second scale will allow unloaded trucks to be weighed and leave the site more quickly on high-traffic days when loaded trucks are waiting in line to deliver grain to the facility. The standards as they apply to this request are as follows. The physical surrounding shape or topographical conditions of the specific property will cause particular hardship to the owner as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out. The subject property has a limited area on which to place a scale that is accessible to the trucks delivering and leaving the grain processing facility. The applicant indicates that the proposed location is the best location on which to place a second scale to alleviate the truck traffic problems at the site during high traffic days. 2, the conditions upon which a petition for a variance is based are unique to the property for which the variance is sought and are not applicable generally to other property within the same zoning classification. The location of many grain bins on the property make it difficult to provide a good location where trucks can be weighed that can fit into the loading and unloading traffic pattern of the facility. 3, the purpose of the variance is not based exclusively upon a desire to make more money out of the property. The proposed location of a second scale will provide improved and more efficient use of the grain processing facility. 4, the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by this ordinance and has not been created by persons having an interest in the property. The existing design of the grain processing facility does not provide an adequate location for placement of a second scale unless a variance is given. 5, the granting of the variance will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located. The proposed second scale will allow a better flow of truck traffic into and exiting the property. The applicant indicates that the proposed scale will reduce the number of trucks lined up on County Highway 25. The Old Town Township Road Commissioner indicated support of the proposed variance. 6, the proposed variance will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property or substantially increase the congestion of the public street or increase the danger of fire or endanger the public safety or substantially diminish or impair property values within the neighborhood. The proposed second scale will allow a better flow of truck traffic into and exiting the property. 7, the variance requested is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land or structure, and the proposed second scale will allow a better flow of truck traffic into and exiting the property. In conclusion, staff recommends that this application meets the standards set forth in the county code. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Who's here to speak on this case tonight? Mr. Todd?
Todd McTaggart of Evergreen FS. I'm present.
Okay, I thought that was who it was. Would you like to be sworn in tonight?
Certainly.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this case now and hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you state your name and address for the record?
Todd McTaggart, my home address is 403 Whistling Street, Washington, Illinois.
Could you spell the name of that street, please?
Whistling, WHISTLING, Straight, STRAIT.
Okay. Would you like to make an opening statement?
The points I'd like to stress with this is that, it's a truck scale. It's not a building. So the truck scale, the deck of the scale is only 19 inches above grade. The railings that run the length of the truck scale are only 27 inches above grade. So it won't significantly change the appearance or the look of the landscape. The benefits to both, not both, all three, the company, the customers, and the surrounding community, it'll allow better traffic flow to get the traffic off the public roads and onto our property where it belongs, so we can manage things more properly. And I think that's pretty much it. I just see it as a benefit for the surrounding community as well as the company and customers.
Okay, thank you very much. Would there be questions from the board?
Daryl, could you put that last aerial picture up again, please?
Is that the one you're looking for, Julia?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Phil, have we had, did we have them here within the last few years adding bins too?
We actually had them in here for a variance for that existing scale.
That's what I thought.
It appears to me that's well thought out plan, and it's going to provide better service for the community. That's for sure.
Any other questions?
I guess I could clarify myself on that. It's not really servicing the community, it's servicing the area farmers better. And I would think if there was much resistance from the community, they would be present this evening. Am I mistaken on that, Bill?
In the past, there was objection to the variance from a property owner who lived on this property to the east here, but since then, Evergreen FS has bought that residence.
That appears to be wise to me. So yeah, I think this is a good plan.
Yep, my concern was the community here, that, they've crammed a lot onto this small area, and now are encroaching on the public street on top of it. So I don't know what they could possibly come back and ask for again if they're within 13 feet of the road, but they have crammed absolutely as much on there as they can.
You can look at it that way and look at it another way, because if the flat traffic moves through faster, there'll be less traffic on the street itself. So the two scales will speed up the process for bringing grain in and trucks empty going out. Any other
Yeah,
questions?
I get that.
Do you have anything, Phil?
No, I have no questions.
You think there's anybody wants to ask questions from out there in the land?
No one requested to be heard at this meeting, or did they submit anything to for me to present?
Okay. So we can move on.
We can move on.
Well, at this point, I think, you can make a closing statement. What you, Todd?
Closing statement would be, I just want to thank the management and staff of the zoning office and the board for hearing our case, and I appreciate the whole process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This part of the hearing is closed and we can talk about it or go to the standards, whatever you want to do.
I do just have concern for, I understand moving the trucks through there, but trucks moving faster is good for trucks not sitting there, but it's not necessarily good for the kids riding their bikes around there, having more trucks moving around and moving through faster. I get it, but at some point, I would like to see them stop adding to this particular one.
Point taken.
Yeah, let's go to the standards, Phil, or Chairman.
Okay. We're gonna go to the standards, I guess. So give me a thumbs up if you want to move them, or standard number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, or 7.
Just for your information, this is a final decision.
We will make a motion.
I would move that we approve SR or ZV 2006.
I'll second that. Yeah, go ahead. Ruth got it.
A second.
We're gonna arm wrestle for it. Kind of hard tonight.
Ruth got it.
Okay. We're gonna motion by Kurtz, a second by Novosad. That's our first second as a regular board member. So can we have a roll call vote?
Taylor,
Yes.
Bangert,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turner,
No,
Finnegan,
Yes.
Novosad.
Yes.
6 yes, that's a pass. So Phil can tell you what you need to do.
We can take a permit for it tomorrow. Mr. Taggart, so it's the approval is final tonight.
The approval is final, so I can apply for the permit tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. We're gonna move on to the next case, SU 2006. Breezywood Solar.
This is case number SU-20-06, application of Breezewood Solar LLC by Cypress Creek Renewables to amend and renew special use case SU-18-10 for a solar power generating facility in the agriculture district on property which is part of the northwest quarter of section 21, township 23 north, range 2 east of the third principal meridian, and located in Bloomington Township, immediately southwest of the intersection of Margaret Street and the Business US Highway 51 frontage road. Public notice of this hearing was published in the Pantograph on June 20, 2020 as provided by law. All the other required notifications have been made and the applicant has paid the publication costs. I sent out a complete application, which is this small book, and the application is on that, and as well as some other information about the proposed facility. I had sent a plat map with the staff reports. And as the zoning map shows this property to be in the ag district. And as you can see, it's located just north of Veterans Parkway and just west of US Business 51. And that property is in the agriculture district. As part of this process, they completed a land evaluation and site assessment for the property. And that is incorporated into the staff report. It has Sable soils, Osco soils, and Catlin soils. And in your packet, there is a site plan in the back pocket that shows how this property will be developed. And if you wanted to open it up, you can see that there is a decent distance from the property from the west and to the north, because those properties are all in the R1 district. And so that's why there's such a long distance away from these residential developments, because the county ordinance requires such facilities to be 200 feet away from an R1 district. And I'll show you the photos at this time. This is Brigham School Road facing east, and that's US Business 51 where those vehicles are traveling. This is Brigham School Road facing west, and the frontage road facing south that goes to the edge of this property, and this is facing south still. That's Business 51 on your left. And this is at the other end, close to where the north end of the farm field is, facing north along this frontage road, and that's Business 51 on your right. And this is Margaret Street, which is the subdivision street on the south edge of the subdivision, residential subdivision. And then facing south, and you can see Business 51 to your left. And the subject property is to your right, and this road extends along the east edge of this property. And this is across the road, across Business 51 to the east. And this is the subject property to the west of that frontage road, facing west. And this is facing south at the north edge of that Margaret Street. So you can see the farm field there. And again, that's the subject property. As you can see, to the south is Veterans Parkway, and to the east is US Business 51. The property is 28 acres. It has 500 feet of frontage on the south side of Margaret Street and 550 feet on the west side of the Business US Highway 51 frontage road. This topography is hilly. The drainage is to the southwest. The vegetation is crop production. The public road is Margaret Street, is a concrete street 30 feet in width. US Highway 51 frontage road east of the Clearview subdivision is a gravel road 9 feet in width. And the Business US Highway frontage road south of Clearview subdivision is an asphalt road 20 feet in width. The surrounding zoning is R1 single family residence district to the north and to the west, and to the south is M1 restricted manufacturing district across Interstate 74. To the east is commercial district. Business. Oh, I misspoke earlier. I said this was Veterans Parkway to the south. That's Route 74, excuse me. I stand corrected. Surrounding land use are single-family residences to the north, and to the south are commercial uses across I-74, and to the east are commercial uses across Business 51, and to the west is crop production. For the land evaluation and site assessment, it has a soil score of 87.19 out of a maximum of 100 points, and a site assessment score of 102 out of a maximum of 200 points, leaving it a total Lisa review score of 189.19 points out of a maximum of 300 points. A score of 219 points and below means the property is of low value for agricultural land protection. The staff report as it relates to the 7 standards of the zoning ordinance are as follows. The proposed special use will not be detrimental to or endanger the health, safety, morals, comfort, or welfare of the public. This standard is met. The applicant applied for and received approval for special use for a solar farm in case SC-18-10 by the McLean County Board on May 15, 2018. Since that special use expired on May 15, 2020, the applicant wants to amend and renew that special use to allow construction to begin after May 15, 2020. The applicant proposes to establish a 2-megawatt solar power generating facility on this property, which will meet all of the county setback requirements and use standards for a solar power generating facility. The application indicates that this facility will contain rows of photovoltaic cell panels mounted on posts set in the ground. These rows of panels are referred to as solar arrays. Cypress Creek Renewables will mount the solar arrays in one of 2 ways, on a fixed tilt or on a tracking system, which allow them to follow the sun throughout the day. After site specifics and design components are more fully developed for the solar farm, Cypress Creek will determine which system is more appropriate for the site. The solar arrays will be designed with an anti-reflective coating. The applicant submitted a communication from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, which states that the Illinois Natural Heritage Database contains no record of state-listed threatened or endangered species, Illinois Natural Area Inventory sites, dedicated Illinois nature preserves, or registered land and water reserves in the vicinity of the project, and that the consultation is terminated. A contact person for the applicant will need to be kept on file with the Department of Building and Zoning for issues and complaints. There has been no communications from the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency. 2, the proposed special use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for purposes already permitted or substantially diminish property values in the area. This standard is met. Nearby property that is currently in crop production or used as residences will continue to be desirable for such uses. Native shade tolerant grass or vegetation for soil stabilization shall be installed according to the county code. The solar arrays will be designed with an anti-reflective coating. 3, the proposed special use will not impede the orderly development of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district, and the standard is met. Nearby property that is currently in crop production or used as residences will continue to be desirable for such uses. 4, adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, or other necessary facilities have been or will be provided, and this standard is met. The property has approximately 500 feet of frontage on the south side of Margaret Street and 550 feet on the west side of Business US 51 Frontage Road. The Bloomington Township Fire District will provide fire protection for the property. Pre-development drainage patterns will be retained as much as possible, and the applicant will provide certified plans for stormwater detention before a permit is issued for a proposed solar power generating facility. A sewer pipe that extends across the property from the Clearview subdivision to the north to the sewer treatment plant across Interstate 74 to the south will need to be preserved and repaired if damaged. The applicant will need to have all field tile damaged in the construction process repaired by a competent contractor with experience in such repair during the life of the solar farm. Access to the property for construction equipment will be provided on the US Highway 51 frontage road. 5, adequate measures have been and will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. It appears that safe site distance can be provided at the proposed entrance. The applicant will need to obtain an entrance permit from the road authority. The establishment, maintenance, and operation of the special use will be in conformance with the intent of the district in which the special use is proposed to be located, and the standard is met. The preamble states provide for the location and govern the establishment and operation of land uses which are compatible with agriculture, and are of such nature that their location away from residential, commercial, and industrial areas is most desirable. 7, the proposed special use in all other respects conforms to the applicable regulations of the agriculture district, and this standard is met. In conclusion, staff recommends that this application meets the standards of the county code, provided the following stipulations. 1, the applicant needs to provide certified plans for stormwater detention before a permit is issued for the proposed solar power generating facility. 2, the solar arrays will be installed with an anti-reflective coating. 3, a contact person for the applicant will need to be kept on file with the Department of Building and Zoning for issues and complaints. 4, a sewer pipe that extends across the property from the Clearview subdivision to the north to the sewer treatment plant across Interstate 74 to the south shall be preserved and repaired if damaged. 5, the applicant shall have all field tile damage in the construction process repaired by a competent contractor with experience in such repair during the life of the solar farm. 6, the applicant shall plant 2 rows of evergreen trees near the north property line between the residential subdivision and the solar arrays. 7, the applicant shall complete consultation with the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency before construction can begin. And 8, development shall follow the plans and documents submitted with the application and with zoning regulations, including Article 6, Section 350-43-00, parenthesis 3, which are the use standards for a solar power generating facility. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Who do we have to speak to this case tonight?
Yes, we do. Mr. Nat Kaufman is here.
Yep. Good evening, everybody.
Would you like to be sworn in?
Sure, that would be great.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony given in this case now in hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Stuff you got?
Yes, I do.
Would you state your name and address for the record?
Yep. Matthew Kaufman. My address is 100 Main Street, Tiskilwa, Tiskilwa, Illinois, 61368.
100 Main Street, did you say, Mr.
Yep,
Kaufman?
that's right.
And
That's right.
Tiskilwa one more time.
Tiskilwa.
And your zip again?
61368.
Thank you.
Okay. Would you like to make an opening statement?
Yeah, I think Phil did a good job of giving an overview of kind of the process. And so our company, Cypress Creek Renewables, we're one of the larger developers in the country for solar energy. We are one of the leading developers here in Illinois. We've applied this project to the Illinois Adjustable Block Program. We submitted it almost 2 years ago now. This project is currently on the wait list. We had our company had 17 projects that were approved in the Adjustable Block Program. So we ended up being the largest number of approved projects, but this project is yet to be approved. There's a number of projects on the wait list. And due to the speed of movement of the program, basically we were not able to construct the project within the 2-year window of opportunity of the special use permit. So we're basically here to let you know that we're interested in continuing development on the project and would need more time in order to activate construction on the project. So we appreciate your consideration of that, and thank you for hearing the proposal tonight.
Thank you. Would there be questions from the board?
Has anything
So has-
changed since the first submittal?
No, nothing has changed on this. The only difference, as I said, is we have submitted the project to the Adjustable Block Program in Illinois, and it's on the wait list. Everything else is basically the same as before.
What does on the wait list mean? Does it mean that it hasn't been approved, but it hasn't been rejected?
Exactly. It's in line. It's in the queue basically. And if enough projects ahead of us drop out, then the project could go from waitlisted to active construction. So we don't know exactly what the time frame is going to be for that, but there is some activity going on currently in the program.
Phil, where is the wording on decommissioning information?
I'll pull the ordinance and read the language for you.
Okay, so it does not need to be added to the stipulations, or?
As a condition of receiving a permit from the county, the facility owner must pay the cost of hiring a professional engineer to provide certified estimate of decommissioning costs. The facility owner shall provide decommissioning security financing of $25,000 per megawatt, or the estimated cost of decommissioning by the engineer, whichever is greater, and shall be provided in its entirety at the time of application for a construction permit. Security financing must be in the form of an irrevocable letter of credit or cash escrow, unless the county board in its sole discretion agrees to accept the performance bond. The decommissioning cost estimate will be reviewed and revised by the facility owner at least after the 10th year of operation and each 5 years thereafter. For deconstruction, all infrastructure needs to be removed to a depth of 5 feet, and all panel support posts need to be removed entirely. And then there's a part that it says the facility owner must provide an agricultural impact mitigation agreement signed by the facility owner and the Illinois Department of Agriculture prior to the issuance of a permit to construct from the county.
All right, thank you.
How long are the extensions supposed to be? Is this another 2-year?
Yes.
Any other questions? You have anything, Phil?
What is that adjustable block? Is it called adjustable block grant?
Yep. The adjustable block program. That's the basically the administrator of the solar energy and I believe wind energy procurement for the state of Illinois, basically.
If you were not selected, will it not then be built?
We would evaluate other options. We could go directly to the marketplace. Potentially, currently the value for the renewable energy credits is much more favorable with the Illinois Adjustable Block Program. But we could also go to the marketplace. Currently, based on the economy and everything going on, the electricity marketplace is very low right now. So it's difficult to procure a long-term power contract to sell the power for a project such as this. But as we know, that could change, at any time.
That's all.
How about this case? Do we have anybody you think that is asking questions about it?
We answered the questions in-house of the folks, and nobody had requested to speak to the zoning board or submit any written communications.
Okay, so at this point, we can move on.
Yes.
Would you like to make a closing statement?
Just thank you for your time. Appreciate all the help you all provided.
Okay, thank you. This part of the hearing is closed and we can deliberate on the case.
I have just a minor question. The 2 rows of trees, evergreen trees that should be planted as a buffer between the residential. Is there any stipulation? I mean, you can plant a tree, but it might die. I mean, maybe the trees should be maintained, or do we want to adjust that in any way to make sure that there is a buffer between the residential area? I guess I put myself in the, the residents. I can't believe that there's not more opposition to this on the part of the residents.
What they were concerned about is that they didn't want to see the construction traffic going through one of the subdivision streets. That was a concern that they had. But there is, if you looked at the site plan, there is a decent separation between where these solar panels will be and the residential property. It's over 200 feet away. And that condition for the trees came from the previous public hearing. And it might be advisable to be assured that the evergreen trees are maintained. You would like to
I think
add
it, as a stipulation, I think that could be good.
I agree. I think it's a good idea that Ruth has. We ought to put something in there saying that if one dies, it should be put a new one in.
Would you need a motion, or can you just change the stipulation?
On our motion, we can put the stipulation in there, but we have to go through the standards first.
Okay.
Okay. Are we ready to go to the standards?
Yes.
All right. We'll just go to standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I think we can put that in the, just add it to the stipulation somehow.
Did we have any other stipulations, Phil, on that?
Yeah, turn your mic on.
We have 8 recommended stipulations, and we could amend that one stipulation. It says the applicant shall plant 2 rows of evergreen trees near the north property line between the residential subdivision and the solar arrays. And we can add that these 2 rows of trees shall be maintained.
Perfect.
I move that we recommend approval of, of SU 20-06 with all 8 recommended stipulations, including the addition to number 6.
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion by Kurtz, a second by Turner. Do we have a roll call vote?
Taylor,
Yes.
Bangert,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Finnegan,
Yes.
Novosad.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Kaufman, this will go to the county board for their meeting on July 21st in the evening, and you can call us the next morning to find out the results. And I will send you communication to that effect after the board decides what to do with it.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, we're gonna go on to 04.
I do have a communication to read into the record, which I'll read after I deliver the information in the staff report. And there may be a person who wants to call in on this one that will be, that you'll have to call upon. So the first exhibit is the application, which I will pass. And which I will, and there's a plat map showing where this property is located to the east of Saybrook. Oh, wait, excuse me, I didn't read the cover here. I'm sorry. I'll do that now. This is case number SU-20-04, application of John Wern for special use to allow cannabis craft grower facility in the agriculture district on property which is part of the southeast quarter of section 23, township 23 north, range 6 east of the third principal meridian in Cheney's Grove Township at 40756 East 1000 North Road, Saybrook, Illinois. Public notice of this hearing was published in the Pantograph on June 20, 2020 as provided by law. All the other required notifications have been made and the applicant has paid the publication costs. So I introduced the application and the plat map showing where this property is located in Cheney's Grove Township. You go in downtown Saybrook and then head straight east for about 2 miles and you'll see it on your left. And the zoning map shows this property is in the agriculture district. We have a communication from the health department indicating that it has a septic system approved for the property. And there's a site plan showing where this property is located, and it has several greenhouses located to the north end of the property. And it shows it having 4 greenhouses that are for flowering up to 14,000 square feet, and 2 vegetative greenhouses that have 7,000 square feet total. And a floor plan showing 3 different rows of plants in them. And a photo that I attached to the staff report that shows the look of the greenhouse and what kind of fence is going to be around it. There's a communication from the Illinois Department of Agriculture where the applicant has applied for a cannabis craft grower facility. There's an exhibit that shows that a cannabis craft grower is a facility operated by an organizational business that is licensed by the Department of Agriculture to cultivate, dry, cure, and package cannabis and perform other necessary activities to make cannabis available for sale at dispensing organizations or use at a processing organization. So there will be no cannabis sold from this property. It'll have to be distributed at a processing organization approved by the Department of Agriculture or a dispensing organization approved by the state. It's limited to 5,000 square feet of canopy space for flowering plants, but it can be increased to 14,000 square feet, and it cannot be located in a residential zone, and it must be 1,500 feet from another craft grower or cultivation center. And the county use standard requires that the following conditions be met. It cannot be closer than 500 feet from the lot line of a school or a playground or a public park, a house of worship, a public library, a daycare center, or from a lot for which the principal use is a residence. Lighting for craft growing facilities shall be restricted from passing through the side walls and roofs at night. Parking lot lighting shall be directed on site with spillover limited from entering neighboring properties. A cannabis business shall notify the Director of Building and Zoning within 30 days of receiving a state license for a cannabis business. and I'll deliver the photos at this time. This is an aerial of the property. The subject property is to the left, and this is facing east on Road 1000E. This is facing west on Road 1000E. And this is across the road to the south. The land is in crop production. And this is the driveway to this property. The growing greenhouses are to the beyond where those trees are located. The house is on the other side of this first set of trees. And then this is the driveway. And this is the house on the property. And this is behind the house. The growing will take place to the north and to the east of these grain bins. And this is the east side of the property, and there's this large machine shed on it. And this is the property behind that machine shed, those grain bins, the area where the greenhouses will be located on the near side of those trees. Those trees are on the other next property. And this is facing east, property to the east of the house and to the west. I'll deliver the staff report at this time. The topography is relatively flat. It drains to the south. The property is surrounded by land in the agriculture district and by land in crop production. The analysis of the 7 standards of this ordinance are as follows. The applicant complies with use standards for a cannabis craft grower facility in the county code. Such a facility is allowed by special use in the agriculture district if it is located no closer than 500 feet from the lot line of a school grounds, playground, a public park, a house of worship, a public library, daycare center, or from a lot for which the principal use is a residence. Lighting for such craft growing facilities shall be restricted from passing through the sidewalls and roofs at night. Parking lot lighting shall be directed on site with spillover limited from entering neighboring properties. This property is located more than 2,000 feet from the nearest lot for which the principal use is a residence, and more than 1.5 miles from other facilities listed above. The applicant provided a greenhouse plan that restricts light from leaving the site as required. 2, the proposed special use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for purposes already permitted or substantially diminished property values in the immediate area. This standard is met. The property is surrounded by land and crop production in the ag district. Nearby land and crop production would continue to be desirable for such use. The proposed special use will not impede the orderly development of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. This standard is met. Nearby land and crop production would continue to be desirable for such use. Adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or will be provided. This standard is met. The county health department has signed off on the proposed special use. The property has 200 feet of frontage on the north side of 1000 North Road. The Saybrook Aerosmith Community Fire Protection District provides fire protection for the subject property. 5, adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. This standard is met. The existing entrance to the subject property appears to meet safe site distance requirements, and the applicant will need to obtain an entrance permit from the Cheney's Grove Township Road Commission for the proposed use before a construction permit is issued for a cannabis craft grower facility. 6, the establishment, maintenance, and operation of the special use will be in conformance with the intent of the district in which it is located, and this standard is met. The proposed special use in all other respects conforms to the applicable regulations of the district in which it is located, and this standard is met. Staff recommends that this application meets all the standards set forth in the use standards for special use permits. provided an entrance permit is obtained from before a construction permit is issued, and provided compliance with 350-43 CCC use standards for cannabis craft grow facilities. I do have a communication that was submitted to our office that I will read. Dear sirs, please consider and address the following concerns my wife and I have with regard to the establishment of a cannabis growing facility in the above address. Groundwater. His well is in the same water table as mine. Water use greater than that needed for several head of large livestock may well be detrimental to my water availability. Will he implement rain catchment systems and wastewater reclamation systems to reduce water table drawdown? Is a drip irrigation to be the primary or only method of watering his crop throughout the plant's life? Runoff from orchard herbicides and pesticides has destroyed groundwater quality in some parts of the county. Are the glacial soils of the moraine we are both built on susceptible to easy infiltration of spilled or excessively applied inorganic chemicals? Will he be using safe organic chemicals on his crop? Would testing groundwater or local wells be possible? Light pollution. I am an amateur astronomer and chose my home because it features dark skies, limited atmospheric scatter of light, artificial light. Even single security lights pose problems for astronomy. Security lighting and greenhouse lighting poses threat to this quality of life issue. I have been assured that this will be addressed by the owner, but I want it on the record. Noise pollution. I escaped the boom boxes and midnight shoutings and shootings of Bloomington life, year-round dryers, pumps, and security drones of a 24-hour business fill us with dread. Air pollution. Drying, processing, and composting of anything has smells and odors associated with it. I am warned by hearsay that these farms exude a skunk-like odor. Am I misinformed? Security. Collateral criminality. We envision thugs of gangbanger mentality investigating this facility and finding it secure, vandalizing or robbing less secure locations in the vicinity in order not to experience a wasted trip. Others may try to access this farm by trespassing to our neighboring properties. Will the county increase patrols in the area so as to have an officer available within a short response time frame? Size and expansion. Please address limits on growth. Transferability. Is the special use permit granted to the owner of the property or to the property itself? If I may employ a cultural euphemism, hypothetically, if an unarmed cartel makes Mr. Wern an offer he can't refuse, can the permit be rescinded? And is this permit tied to the specific cultivation of cannabis, or is it for intense cultivation of any type of vegetation in greenhouses? Our concern is that Mr. Wern may be a wonderful steward of the land, but without growing Audrey 2 plants and harsh chemicals, careless of runoff and contamination. We have only just learned of the hopes of our new neighbor. We have had no time to investigate the issues with or solutions for happily living next to this type of facility. We understand that timeliness has become an issue and hope that our issues will not cause additional delay if you do choose to allow the permit. We would like our reservations on the record in case the special use permit needs to be revisited because of grievous erosion of our quality of life. James Baker and Susan Baker. P.S. Additionally, the zoning board needs to amend its notification policies to include persons affected by issues reaching far beyond the property lines, such as those listed above. That concludes the letter and my report.
Okay. Mr. Warren, would you like to be sworn in?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this case down here will be the truth, the whole truth, but the truth? Good.
I do.
Would you state your name and address? For the record?
My name's John Warren. Address is 40756 East 1000 North Road, Saybrook, 61770.
You get that, Bill?
Yes, I got it.
Would you like to make it?
Yes, I would. Thank you for your time, board. I'm just excited for the opportunity to even get this far with this craft grow. It's been a lot of paperwork, and I appreciate the zoning department helping me out along the way. And I just think I can do everything the state Department of Agriculture and the county health department, the county board to set forth to follow the regulations the state has to do this operation.
Okay. Thank you. You have questions on the board?
Could he address?
Do I have?
Go
ahead.
Yeah, John, could you address some of the questions?
Yes. Yeah, so some of those questions as far as water use and water runoff, the state of Illinois has set forth the strictest environmental policy. We're not allowed to even grow in the ground. We have to grow in elevated pots on trays. We have to collect all our runoff and filter that and reuse it. We're only allowed 20% of runoff drainage from the bottom of our plants, which have to be automatically drip irrigated. It's not hand watering. So that's very regulated on water use. As far as the light escaping, the system and setup of the greenhouses that I will be using, that's not going to happen. It's a very well thought out engineered system that no light escapes. A couple other questions as far as using water per day at full capacity, I would say around 2,700 gallons. That's at the max capacity. If the state would give me 14,000 square foot canopy space, minus the 20% runoff that we would reuse. What were a couple of the other concerns, Phil? Were there a few?
Do you have any information on the crime?
The crime, I don't see, I have, gonna have a security system in place and security guards there on site. The state of Illinois and the agricultural department is putting in place a pretty secure system. It's gonna be pretty secure. As far as somebody coming on somebody else's property anytime, I mean, I'm not sure about that. That issue, I don't know about that one. But my site will be very secure. Yeah.
Are you going to be living on the property or?
I do plan to live there. Yes. Full time. Mm-hmm.
About the Roma issue, I heard that also as a problem.
Living there is a or what was the other problem?
The Roma issues.
Aroma. Okay, aroma. So it's also gonna have a very good engineered system as far as it keeps the smell down. It's a carbon filter system. A lot of facilities that are like in town, say something was downtown Bloomington, like a growing next to really close space, you wouldn't be able to smell it. So the systems that are used nowadays for cannabis production are really efficient as far as the aroma goes.
Phil, can you tell me how close is the person who wrote the letter? How close do they live?
They live about 2/3 of a mile west. And I actually spoke with him for about an hour and a half yesterday and kind of answered most of the questions for him to his face. So well, I know he had a couple other concerns besides aroma. What was?
He mentioned noise pollution, but I don't.
Noise, yes, noise. For the cannabis operation, as far as drying and curing it goes, it's not big like grain fans that do the hum. We're using more dehumidifiers and inline fans that will be in the barn, and the dehumidifiers are not loud, like no humming noises or like that, like a big grain blower.
And can you tell me the transportation out for the finished product? Typically,
yes.
small vehicles. What typically transports?
Exactly. So the state of Illinois and the agricultural department are. You have a choice. The transportation companies have a choice of, I believe it's 2 Ford hybrid Econoline vans is what is gonna transport the stuff from harvest to retail.
And could you also tell me, does any product that's being sold in Illinois have to be raised in Illinois?
That is correct. Yes, every from concentrates to flour products to edibles, it all has to be grown and processed in the state. Yes, and it's a very it all gets its own barcode and it's tracking trace, so it's taxable to the state, and the local jurisdictions get the tax money. Yeah.
Phil, there was a question about what special use stays on property or what person.
Oh yes.
Don Knapp.
Yeah, the special use goes with the land.
Maybe.
Don Knapp said.
Well, there's a. Can you guys hear me? There's a famous case out of Chicago in 2000 who wanted to keep a couple horses on a piece of property in Cook County. Back then, the Cook County court in that case it did not get the land. I'd have to.
Hey, Don, I'm sorry. Could I interrupt? Could everybody who's not talking put their thing on mute so we can hear you?
Someone has their speaker muted. Is it better now? Okay. There's kind of a well-known 2006 case out of Cook County where somebody wanted to keep some horses on a piece of property and argued that a special use some time ago ran with the land, and at least back in 06, the First District Appellate Court found that it didn't. I believe it's Cook County versus Monat, M-O-N-A-T. Now, like everything that is fact specific, I don't know the specific instances of that special use being granted, that not being granted, whether there were a number of intervening landholders. I'd have to go back and research that. So I'm not trying to disagree with Phil as a general proposition. My thoughts are I just have to research it to tell you in this specific instance whether it would run with the land or not, because especially when we're talking about cannabis production, so much of that is regulated by the state of Illinois. A little bit like a liquor license, it may terminate statutorily. So I realize that probably doesn't help your decision, but I can't give you a definitive answer right now whether it does or doesn't. It may and it may not. So unfortunately, I can't tell you without researching. Had we known even hour or 2 hours in advance, we could have researched this. And certainly by the time the county board gets around to voting, we can research for them and get them an answer. So.
At any rate, though, the license does not transfer to the next person, correct? The license has to be applied for.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, Julia, but then again, that's controlled by the state, right? We're just talking about zoning. So much like a liquor license, that'll be controlled by a different set of statutes.
John, how many people would be employed at this site?
I plan on having at least 10 full-time employees for this operation.
Will they work normal hours, or will they be in and out throughout 24 hours?
Some will work normal hours and some will work later hours. Obviously security will be working 24 hours, but as far as the employees that are doing the cultivation, it's going to be mostly regular hours, yes, except for like during harvest, when stuff is harvesting, it's going to be more later hours too. And I'm starting hourly at $15 an hour for entry level.
Any other questions? You have a caller, Luke?
Yeah, do we have a caller?
Hello?
Hello.
I think
Are you talking about me?
Yes, you have a question?
I wrote the letter. I'm just listening to the discussion. Will this special use permit be up for renewal or on a regular basis, or is it something that is one time fits all? I didn't get all of that because there was interference from other voices.
If it doesn't have to be renewed, but if it isn't started within 2 years, it will expire.
Okay. All right. I still have, like Mr. Warren, I still have time to do research before the board meeting. So if there's any problems, I can probably he has answered most of my questions, but I just wanted all my concerns read into the record. Thank you.
We have language in our ordinance that security lighting isn't to leave the property. Isn't that correct? Or Phil? Or
Yes, that's correct.
okay.
Mr. Baker, there may not be an there won't necessarily be an opportunity for you to speak at the county board meeting.
Oh, I was unaware of that. I thought that's why it went through several steps, because there was chances to do that. Okay.
This is the place for the public hearing and the public comment.
Okay. Well, if you have, I'm sorry, I only found out about it Sunday, so I at a loss for researching what's going on. You apparently did your due diligence according to the law, and I am just trying to strike some sort of understanding of what's going to be happening. So thank you for your time. I don't have anything to add over and above what I had in the letter. Have you all had a chance to read the letter, or is this the first you've heard of it also? Is this the first you've had a chance to read my letter?
This is the first exposure to that letter that I read it today. But I just got it from you today too.
Right. Yeah, I didn't want to interfere with his moving forward with this until I knew that there was something wrong with his program. I guess the only thing that could be wrong would be subsequent owners who might not be as wonderful stewards of the land as he purports to be. I believe him. As he said, we've had a conversation, and I think he will be a good employer, businessman, and steward of the land. I'm just looking out for myself for future. If he stays here for 50 years, I won't have to worry about it. I'm already white-haired. So anyway, for what it's worth, thank you.
Thank you. Looks like we have another caller.
Probably just Rick coming back in. I ducked out.
Do we have another caller, Phil?
I'm not aware that we were going to have another caller.
It just says caller 4 and caller 5. I didn't know.
Yeah, I believe it might be me. It's just Rick. I fell offline and I'm back on my phone now.
I got it. It's Rick.
Yep, it's me.
Okay. We're up to speed. So, any other questions from the board? I think at this point, we're ready for a closing statement. Mr. Wynn.
I just want to say thank you to Phil and Daryl in the Building and Zoning Department. They've helped me out tremendously trying to understand some of the, I guess, the language of the paperwork. From a farming standpoint, paperwork's not my strong suit, so I appreciate that. And thank you to the board for your time, and look forward to maybe seeing you in person sooner than later. And thanks for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. This part of the hearing is, we can talk about the. You need to turn the mic off.
Oh, sorry.
Ruth, would you please turn your mic off?
Sure.
Maybe she's got something to say, Phil. Or where are we at on this? And we want to start talking
Well,
about it?
I guess, you know, I mean, in addressing his concerns, you know, I feel like I feel like a lot of his concerns are very heavily regulated by the state. And I mean, is there anything that we could do to make this a better situation for the neighbors? And I'm at a loss to come up with anything, particularly because the one objector is 3/4 of a mile away. I mean, I think they're well protected. And I think this is a well thought out plan.
I agree.
Doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but we had a medicinal marijuana facility try to get approval, and they were met with extreme resistance. And this is a different ball game tonight, and I'm just where is everybody? Any thoughts on that?
I also think that, you know, as a state, we've come a long way from where we were a couple of years ago, and where a lot more discussion has gone on, and the medicinal ones have been up and running, and we haven't heard a lot of issues with that. And so I think experience probably more than anything.
And I have confidence in the zoning office keeping an eye on things and making sure they're meeting the standards and rules and regulations.
I think to answer Brian's question a little bit, this is more of a rural area than what we had the last time out there by Downs. I would say it's quite completely different. And if you look at it, I mean, you had quite a few neighbors on the last case, some right next to it, where this is, unfortunately, you got one of 3/4 mile. It'd be nice if it was a couple mile, but it's how much distance do you need? I mean, the regulations say it doesn't have to be that far. So I think to me, it's the big difference between the two cases.
Agreed.
So any other questions or things we need to talk about, or? If not, we're ready for.
I have one last question. It won't affect your vote. Can I ask it? I know you're beyond it.
The public hearing part of it's closed.
We'd be breaking regulations if we let you talk, sorry.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you.
You'll have to answer him, Phil.
The public hearing part of the hearing is closed. It's just up for discussion among the zoning board. It's a public meeting of the zoning board to discuss the case.
Okay. I have a question. May I ask it after the meeting's over? It shouldn't affect the vote or anything. I mean, it's something I need to know about after. So I'm guessing, I'm wanting to know, will the phone stay on or will the phone be shut off? I guess is my question. A quick question.
Generally, you can call our office tomorrow about any question that I could come up with, and I could do research if you need some more information.
Okay, I'll do that then. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
Are we going to go through the standards?
Yeah, that's right. Forgot where I was at. I'm glad somebody's watching. So let's go to the standards, if that's okay. Standard 1, Standard 2, Standard 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I move that we recommend approval of SU 20-04, including fill stipulations on the entrance permit and compliance with the use standards.
Second.
I'll second that.
Okay.
You guys gonna, okay. We have a motion by Kurt, so I don't know who seconded it.
Mary Beth.
Mary Beth Taylor. Okay. Kurtz and Taylor. We have a roll.
Taylor,
Yes.
Banger,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Finnegan,
Yes,
Novosad.
Yes.
motion passed.
This goes to the county board on July 21st at their meeting in the evening. It'll be on their consent agenda unless one of the county board members decides to pull it from the consent agenda, and then they would vote on it separately. You can attend. You probably could watch it on YouTube to see how it gets voted upon, if it stays on the consent agenda or not. Otherwise, you can call our office in the morning of the 22nd of July, and I will let you know what happened, and then I would communicate that by letter to you after that.
Great. Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it.
We need to talk about anything else, Phil?
I'd like to find out, just from a polling, to see who's going to be available on July 20th, and that will be an in-person meeting. Will everybody be available? Okay, I think that says everybody's available. That's great news, and we'll see how that comes out. Those are all text amendments, and it might be a little controversial, but and it'll be our first meeting as in person, so we'll see how that goes. And Don Knapp is helping us tremendously with getting this transition taking place. Thank you all.
Will masks be required, Phil? Or will you let us know that?
Yes, you will need to bring masks.
Okay, thank you.
I think we're adjourned.
If you don't, I have extra masks too.